to be more interdependent and more humanistic? Can we really make a difference in our lifetime? Deming at the age of 90. That's all you've got. That's all you've got. What thrills me, though, is us professors, we have the opportunity to teach you younger folks. And when we're gone, you'll take it over, and you'll make it better, bigger and better. Okay, finally, I'm near the end. I like this one. Rock the boat, but keep afloat. I am the second oldest individual in the Department of Psychology, and I was here the longest. And I must say that if they called me a maverick, they called me because I was always doing stuff outside the box, working in prisons. When I went to the prisons and worked with maximum security, death row inmates, we had a department head who was a clinical psychologist. He was so nervous. Geller was working, and I was getting all kinds of press from the American Psychological Society. The Monitor was talking about our prison work, and our department head was so nervous. What does Geller know about working with these inmates? He's going to embarrass us. He's not a clinical psychologist. And then when I started to work on pro-environment behavior, try to get people to recycle. Now, today that's an easy thing, but we're talking in the 70s. First Earth Day, 1970. Second Earth Day, 1990. 20 years from the first to the second Earth Day. And in that time period, however, we were doing it, but I would not have gotten tenure had that kind of research been what they looked at to make a tenure decision. Matter of fact, don't mind telling you, 3 faculty members voted me not to get tenure. I had 60 publications. I had the first teaching award in our department, and they said no tenure. 3 did. 3 said yes, and the department head broke the tie. And the reason they said no is because his research is weird, man. He's in prisons, he's in the grocery store, seeing to get people to go to recycle. I mean, this is not psychology. Today, it is psychology. Matter of fact, Dick Winnett and I, another faculty member, we called it behavioral community psychology. And I've always wanted our clinical program to kind of move a little bit in that direction, to behavioral community psychology. And guess what? They would have, but the American Psychological Association kind of held them back, because you have to follow these regulations. Can't blame them, because we want to remain certified as a leading clinical psychology program. Okay, enough of that. But I must say that I did rock the boat, and it was a struggle. But today I'm grateful that I did. Keep your personal and professional life in balance. I didn't do that very well, and Joanne keeps reminding me of that, and I'm trying. But you know what? There's a term in psychology called intrinsic reinforcement. You know what intrinsic reinforcement is? It's not inside you. Intrinsic reinforcement means when your behavior has natural reinforcing consequences, you just want to keep doing it. That's why you guys want to text message while you drive, Terrible thing to do, but wow, that text message sounds off. You could be talking to someone, and yet, you want to pull it out, and you want to talk right away, and it's so rude to the other person, but it's intrinsic reinforcement. And for me, my job here at Virginia Tech, and I'm grateful for this university, and I'm grateful for the students over the years, because I tell my students in CAPS, I said, if it wasn't for you, I'd be gone. I'm 5 years beyond retirement. I would be gone if it wasn't for the students. And the day that I don't think that I'm continuing to learn, continuing to teach and learn, is the day I'm out of here. Okay, story time. When I was 10 years old, that was 60 years ago, I said to my mom and dad said to me, Scott, how'd you like to get drum lessons? I said, oh yeah, I wanted the drum lessons. And I had this image of, in those days, it was Gene Krupa and Buddy Rich. And they weren't in the back of the band, they were in the front of the band with a big drum set. And so my vision was, wow, I could have a drum set. Now my parents didn't give me a drum set. They bought me a beat-up old snare drum. It didn't look as nice as this. It was a beat-up old snare drum. And this is what they said to me. They said, Scott, if your teacher says that you're advancing, that through the feedback you get, if you're getting better, we will get you a better snare drum and maybe a tom-tom and maybe a bass drum and some cymbals. So here's my point. At 10 years old, I had a vision. Got to have a vision, folks. Where am I going? What's the big picture for me? What's my vision? And then you set goals. So my teacher would come and set his snare drum right next to mine. He gave me an hour lesson, $2. Private lessons. It's a long time ago, $2. And he'd sit his snare drum right next to mine and he would demonstrate, you know. And by the way, was I motivated? You bet. Because I want that drum set and I wanted to do the best I could. And he would show me stuff. In those days, the left hand is like this. Any drummers in the audience? Any drummers? Oh, you're a drummer, huh? And the right hand like this. Today, drummers hold it like this. You know where this came from? Ringo Starr. Who was not a drummer. He didn't know any better. They just, they just gave him the sticks. Oh, I guess I'll hold them like this. Now, I must admit, drummers today have learned to hold them this way. But the real drummers hold them like this. And so I could do this, And he would teach me rudiments. There are 26 rudiments. This is the rim shot. This is the rim shot. By the way, as I learned this stuff, and I could do a flam. Can you hear me in the back? Okay. and then a flam tap. As I learned that stuff, I was so motivated because you know what? I was feeling competent. I was feeling that I could do this. And he would he said, Scott, ready for a new rudiment? You bet I'm ready. How about a paradiddle? How does it go? And he would leave. Nice thing about playing a musical instrument, you get soon, certain, immediate feedback. So I would practice. Come back, he said, how's your paradiddle? I said, watch this. He said, that's a double paradiddle, Scott. I said, you reading ahead in the book? I said, you bet I am. I love it. I'm getting intrinsic rewards. I'm feeling the natural consequences. I'm feeling competent. Then one day, by the way, I should tell you, I'm going to Muhlenberg Elementary School, Allentown, Pennsylvania, and the drum teacher, the music teacher, saw me, and I'm so excited. He said, Scott, you're going to play in the marching band. Now I had another vision of playing the snare drum in the marching bands. And then one day, teacher comes in, he says, Scott, you ready to learn the drum roll? You bet, man. Show me, I'm ready. Watch this, Scott. It's easy. I said, could you show me that again? Scott, man, watch me. Now you practice this, and next week I want to see a drum roll. And he'd come in, he'd set up a snare drum, and he said, I can do a paradiddle. Would you show me that again? Scott, if you can't do a drum roll, watch how easy this is. If you can't do that, forget the drums, man. This is the foundation of drumming, a drum roll. This is what the drum plays in the Star-Spangled Banner. This is what they're doing. Drum roll, man. You got to learn that. Week after week, he came back. And we call it in psychology regression. I can do a paradiddle. So, anyway, I'm walking through that elementary school, Muhlenberg Elementary School, and the teacher comes up, the music teacher, and says, how are the drums coming, Scott? Not so good. What do you mean not so good? You were so excited. Well, I can't do a drum roll. Of course, as adults will say, never say can't. Scott, you can do a drum roll. I can't do a drum roll. I've been trying. And then he said to me, this is a lesson. He said, can you do a paradiddle? Yeah. He said, what's the second half of a paradiddle? He said, that's a drum roll. That's not a drum roll. He said, yes it is, Scott. You go home and I want you to say, I was just 10 years old. And you're going to say Dad and Mama until you see you'll have a drum roll. So I went home. It's a drum roll. The teacher comes in. No, I'll never forget, like it was yesterday. Okay, Scott, I guess you can't do a drum roll still, huh? And I said, Mr. Laubach, watch this. He said, whoa! How did you learn to do that? And I showed him, sir, I broke it down. When you're overwhelmed, I wasn't using quite this language, but when you're overwhelmed with so much to do, break it down. I want to tell you something. He was elated. He said, wow, I forgot about that. This had become a habit. I forgot that it was 10 years old. I taught my teacher how to teach a drum roll. And matter of fact, that's a lesson we can all learn from each other. And I want to tell you one more thing. If that teacher, this is why I so value teaching, if that teacher at Muhlenberg Elementary School did not teach me how to break it down into meaningful parts, I never would have gotten to be a drummer. And I earned my way through college, through graduate school, playing rock and roll. I played once with Chuck Berry. That was a highlight of my life. And I never would have happened if one teacher, if I only could thank him today, hadn't taught me. By the way, finally, you know what synergy is? Synergy is when the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Synergy is when we are divergent but interdependent and we come together. There's no better way for me to demonstrate synergy than this. You know here the sum of the parts. Finally, I'm a minute. Can I leave you with one more poem? This is a quick one. This is my favorite. It's short, and I end my presentations very often. In fact, I'll end my introductory psychology class with this poem. A tiger met a lion while drinking by the pool. Said the tiger to the lion, "Why do you roar like such a fool?" "Roaring's not so foolish," said the lion with a twinkle in his eyes. "They call me the king of beasts, and it pays to advertise." A rabbit overheard the lion, and he ran home like a streak. He thought he'd try the lion's trick, but his roar was just a squeak. So a hungry fox had his lunch in the woods. The moral of the story is, it does not pay to advertise unless you've got the goods. You at Virginia Tech are getting the goods. Whether you're a teacher or a student, we are learning from each other. We are here together. And thank you for coming, and you can all have a book if you would like. And let me know what you think. It's the courage factor. Thank you very much.